Many of us know that after a long day of solving complex manufacturing challenges, there is nothing quite good as a glass of good wine. It helps to relax, reflect, and sometimes even find some inspiration. And that's nothing new. People have been doing exactly this for over 5,000 years. And the presentation, Erimi and Commandaria, 5 years of wine legend and legacy, for instance, takes us back to one of the oldest wine regions in the world, the village of Erimi, home of legendary Commandaria. And this is not just a history lesson, this is a reminder that while tools and technology is changing, human spirits, our love to stories, craft and wine remains the same. So please give a warm welcome to Francis Guy.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Dear friends, welcome to Cyprus. As Maria said, my name is Francis. I am the curator of the Cyprus Wine Museum. So the question is, how come a musician to be a curator of a wine museum that is related also with archaeology? So this is a huge project that we are going to learn about it later on. So I come from a completely different world than you do, guys. I just saw some of your presentations earlier. I'm amazed. Bravo to you. So, Erimi is a village, and Commandaria, it's a wine, it's a region, and also it's an orchestra, and also it's a castle. So, 5,000 years of wine, legend, and legacy. So this is the Cyprus Wine Museum. So Erimi is just at the other side of Limassol district, about 20 kilometers from here. That's 12 kilometers from the center of Limassol. From the motorway, it's just a straight road, and you reach at the Cyprus Wine Museum. So this is the main entrance. This is the Knights Courtyard, where we make our gala dinners and concerts. This is part of the exhibition in the museum floor, and this is where the Knights Hospitaliers room that we have and taste the amazing Commandaria wine. By the way, you have got 3 different Commandarias wine in front of you. Please do not taste them yet. We're going to taste them at the end, and we will make it with an interactive way. So the Cyprus Wine Museum it's a museum that has various activities. So it's a private initiative. It's a registered and awarded museum from the Cyprus government. So this is a museum. This is where we make, let's say, our business activities to gain income so we can support ourselves. So Cyprus Wine Museum centers are the products, the wine products, the CDs, etc., that we make, or grape jelly sweets. So from senses, and this is the orchestra, the Commandaria Orchestra. So besides the wine history of Cyprus, we are the home of Commandaria, actually, that we make educational, cultural projects, exhibitions, guided testings, lectures like the one today. And also we are one of the museums in the world that have got their own symphonic orchestra. The orchestra was awarded by UNESCO. Here we can see it was won in one of the publications 2 years ago. And here perhaps we can listen a short extract. But here we will not perform as a symphonic orchestra. We are performing as a string orchestra in a medieval festival in Nicosia. So, Psalmos, a medieval song from Cyprus. Thank you. So this is the Cyprus Wine Museum census of products. This is the wine line. This is the Commandaria line. One of the Commandarias that you are tasting is the Commandaria of the Cyprus Wine Museum that also has the name of Commandaria Orchestra. And here there is an allegory that I'm going to explain later on. And these are the spirits of Zivania. These are spirits like grappa, schnapps, rakia, chacha, that they have got about 45% of alcohol. So this is the map that we have at the entrance of the Cyprus Wine Museum. So we are located somewhere down here. The Cyprus Wine Museum is at this side. So it is located at the crossroads of the wineries of Limassol and Paphos district. So we can see that the wineries of Cyprus are at these regions. So there are three main reasons why do we grow the grapes in these regions. First is because of the soil. Secondly is because of the sun. So the sun raises from this side and comes and just goes on, the sun just falls on the Troodos Mountains. So at the northern part of the Troodos Mountains, there is shade. There is mainly shade. So the grapes, they have various viruses because of the cold weather, the humidity, etc. So the sun helps to grow up healthy vines. And the third main reason is water. So in general, there is a lack of water on the island of Cyprus. But imagine from the Aegean Sea, the cyclone of the clouds come and turn above Egypt and come on stops on Troodos Mountains. So this is the reason we have got more quantities of water at this site. So the Cyprus Wine Museum is just located outside of a river on the banks of Kouris River. So from antiquity until today, meaning 2-3 decades ago, the wine products that they were produced up into the mountains, they were carried down with the help of the water of the stream. Today, outside of the museum, the river is dry because they have built a huge dam that stops the water. But because of this river, a lot of civilizations from antiquity have built their own towns, or we can see medieval monasteries on the banks of the river, and the reason is because of the water. And this is the reason that my village, Erimi, is built on the river's bank. So the village of Erimi has got a 6,000 years of continuous history. So imagine how old are my genes? If you want to make any experiments on me, I'm available. I don't know if you're also in this industry. So, in 1933, my great-grandfather, that he was the Muhtar, the president of the village, they have invited the Department of Antiquities to make the first excavations in our village. So, by the way, this is my grandmother. She was only 14 years old back then, helping at the excavations. And at these excavations, they have discovered amazing, amazing evidence. So, the houses were round stone houses. It's very interesting that just outside of the houses, they used to bury their own people, that they used to put inside various pots and jewelries of the person. And here we can see various jars discovered. So the most important jar is this one over here. But what I want you to pay attention is how these jars gradually turned to this shape. And what was the reason? The people of Erimi to create this type of jars. I'm sure you have seen one in the past. What kind of jar does this shape remind you? Come on, any Italian, Greeks here? Spanish people? Yes? What kind of jars does this remind you of this shape? Amphora. Yes, that's correct. But amphora, it's with two handles. Amphora means I carry with two handles. Amphofero. So, here we can see the evolution once again, but in a drawn shape, how they created these narrow shaped jars. So here we can see some elements that they were drawn on the jars, primitive elements, which are very interesting and nice. So this is the jar of Erimi. So when this flask, the name of this jar is flask. So when these jars were discovered in 1933, the archaeologists were amazed because these are the oldest narrowed shaped jars discovered in the world. A century later, the Italian archaeological mission based in Cyprus from CNR of Rome, they were curious to know what the local people used to restore in these narrow shaped jars. So they came and they analyzed the inner part of these jars. So here we see Professor Alessandro Lettini that he makes some analysis of the broken parts of the jars. And he discovered big quantities of tartaric acid, which that is the acid of wine. That means it's an evidence that the local people used to restore wine in these jars. So the last 20 years, a huge number of publications in scientific magazines and websites comes over analyzing the inner part and talking about the importance of this jar of Erimi. So this is a narrow-shaped jar. It's called flask. It's the oldest narrow-shaped jar discovered in the world. And the hypothesis is that the people, they just accidentally created it. But this jar had to remain straight. So they just digged in the earth and fit it inside. So they have noticed that the temperature in summer will keep the wine cooler, and in summer will keep it, in summer cooler and in winter warmer. So the drink will be much more pleasant to be consumed. Also, having a stable temperature in the wine or in the olive oil, the product will last longer. And then the settlement of the wine or olive oil will come and stick in the lower part of the jar. So by transferring the beverage from one jar to another to consume it, all the sediment will be stuck in this lower part. So they will avoid drinking any parts or any dirt from the product. So there are several other reasons of why humanity started producing using these jars. So I will make a parenthesis here. So these are the oldest evidence of wine discovered in Europe with 5,000 years. Any idea where are the oldest evidence of wine discovered in the world? Any ideas? For sure it's not Sweden. Egypt, perhaps. It is an old region. Greece, by the way, Italy, France, etc. are from the new wine-producing areas. Persia, Mesopotamia, of course, but there are discovered in Georgia. In Georgia, they discovered the oldest evidence of wine. It's proved with the same method. That means analyzing the inner part of this jar over here, that they have total 7,000 years in wine making history. And that's in the region of Tel Aviv, in Alazani Valley. So, another important reason why humanity From the ancient jars of Erimi, they created the amphoras. So, yes, we said they used two handles to carry the jars. Also, for exporting the wines, and they had to fill up the ship up to the top. You see, the lower part will come and fit in between. So with this way, they were able to fill up the entire ship without leaving any empty space. So also for pure logistic regions. So there are other several reasons why humanity invested on these jars. So the last 70 years, we see that in Cyprus, Georgia, Greece, Italy, etc., people, they do not use these jars. But today's trend, though, is to go back and using the amphoras and other clay jars for the fermentation of the wine, for aging the wine, and restoring the wine. So the earth wines, as we call them, wines that they are restored in these jars are just amazing, If you have the chance, taste them. So, now we're going to go to the topic of Commandaria. So to understand how old is this wine, we just need to tell you some things about the Cyprus history. So we have got the ancient Cyprus, the Homeric age. So that's the region that we have the first Greek written language. So here we have the ancient Cyprus. So when Homer, in his Iliad and Odyssey, talks about the sweet wine of Cyprus, something amazing. So in his Odyssey, Homer talks about the sweet wine of Cyprus. Later on, a Greek historian called Hesiodos, that's at the 700s before Christ, visits Cyprus, and he makes a description how the Cypriots used to produce this wine. And it's a recipe that we still use until today. So we have got a 2,500 years written recipe of the Commandaria wine. So, of course, later on we have got the Macedonian Empire, Roman Empire, that the capital of Cyprus back then is Paphos, then Byzantine Empire, and then we have got the Lusinian period. And what does that mean? The Lusinian period. So from 1192 until the end of the 15th century, we have got the Franco-Cypriot kingdom. So the Lusinians buy Cyprus from Richard the Lionheart, that he actually captured the island, and they created the French Cyprus kingdom of Cyprus with the dynasty of Lusinians. So during this period, we can see all the amazing medieval architecture of Cyprus, and the glory of Commandaria reached its peak. So later on, we have got the Venetian rule, which the glory of Commandaria continues. We have got the Ottoman Empire. So during this period, the local people, they are allowed to produce wine, but they do not have the knowledge to export the wine, because all of these 6 centuries, they were just slaves to the French and Venetians, so they were just producers, so they couldn't export the wine. Then we have got the British administration, that again the Cypriots started exporting the wine, and then the Republic of Cyprus. So we go back to the Lusinian period. So the Lusinians, when they created this Franco-Cypriot kingdom, they didn't have enough army to protect the island. So they divided the island in 3 regions. One of the regions is the ones that we are now, including Limassol and the Cyprus Wine Museum. So this is a complex of 40 villages. And this area is called the Le Grand Commandarie de Chypre, the great commanding area of Cyprus. And the Lusinians, they've given the Commandarie to the Knights of the St. John Order. And they had their headquarters at this castle, which is located in Colossi. This is just 2 kilometers away from the Cyprus Wine Museum. So this is the Commandaria, the commanding building. So the name of Commandaria of this wine comes from the knights. So from antiquity until the 12th centuries, they were given various names to this wine. The last name was Nama, and the name of Nama was exchanged by the very smart marketeers of the St. John Order Hospitaliers, and they called it Commandaria because it was mainly produced in their region. And they thought that if they export this wine with the name of Commandaria, they will increase the sales. So the people in Europe, they will know that this wine comes from the exotic island of Cyprus, and by purchasing this wine, they support the crusade activities. So the Commandaria wine was born. And all these years, the Lusignan dynasty, they make their entire diplomacy based on this commodity of the Commandaria wine. They increased the exports. So this is another old picture of the castle. And in 1224, in collaboration with the King of France, Philip August, they organized in Chinon, in France, a wine competition. And this was the first wine competition ever organized in the world. And here we have got Henri Tandeli, that he's inspired from this wine competition, and he composed the poem Le Bataille des Vins, the Battle of the Wines. And actually last year we had the 800th anniversary of this event. So back then 70 wines took part of this in this competition, and Commandaria takes the first prize. So last year in Chinon in France we have the 800th anniversary. That's Mr. Guy with his Commandaria Orchestra. And let's see what's the video about. Oops, sorry.
Battle of the Wines. The Battle of the Wines finals have begun. Over 500 wines gathering in France to be shared, debated, judged, and loved. The 800-year anniversary began at the High Temple of French culture. The Académie Française, as the esteemed Professor Michel Zink read to us under the dome of the Institut de France, the cultural heart of Paris. The words of a medieval poem about a king's call to gather the best wines in the world came alive. The legend was about to leap of the page and add another chapter and verse. Friday, and the action moved to picturesque and historic Chinon at the heart of the Loire Valley. Months of rain stopped, and the sun shone as the city welcomed visitors from all corners of the world to the Fountain Square. What then followed was the memorable arrival of the original winner from 1224, a perilous boat trip from Cyprus, along the flooded Vienne River. A handsome king, a legendary bottle. The ceremony, color and pageant of Chinon all joined beneath a statue, to literary giant Rabelais, the 800-year anniversary was in full swing. And the 800-year anniversary of Battle of the Wines had begun, only the all-important judging to come.
That's fantastic.
Sincere thanks to the supporters of this memorable event. Battle of the Wines.
So that was the battle of the wines. Today we have the battle of Commandarias, huh? And you will judge to find the best Commandaria that you are tasting. So let's talk now, how do we produce Commandaria? So all these centuries, Commandaria is produced in this region over here, actually in the entire district. But since the beginning of the 1980s, we have got an appellation of origin created, and Commandaria is produced only in these regions over here. So the Commandaria vineyards start from an altitude of 400 meters above the level of the seas and reach up to 1,200 meters above the level of the sea. So very interesting in the taste, depends from which village the Commandaria comes from. So, for instance, at the western side of the Commandaria region, we have got volcano soil. That makes the Commandaria much more rich in aromas. So, let's see during the tasting what will happen. So, here we have got the villages, starting from the 400 meters, for instance, Monargri, Corfi, Gerasa, quite a known villages. And we go north. So from this side, we have got mainly asbestos soil, and at the western side, we have got the very rich volcano soil, which that makes the Commandaria very unique. So Commandaria wine is produced from two grapes. So it's a blend of a white and a red grape. So guys and ladies, if we blend a white and a red grape, what color of wine do we get? Rosé. But de facto, we do not have a rosé Commandaria in front of us. So this is an amber color wine. And the reason is because we dry the grapes, this white Xinisteri and the red local black variety, we dry them in the sun. But before that, the harvest of the grapes is in late September, sometimes first week of October, and that depends on the Beaumet. So it's how sweet are the grapes. And we measure them with the measuring unit of Beaumet. So for Xinisteri, we need 30 Beaumet. For Mavro, we need 14 Beaumet. So here are very interesting pictures from the past, something that we still use today, of course, of spreading the grapes in the sun, so to evaporate them and to increase their sweetness. So we need to reach up to 21 to 23 degrees of Beaumet. So that usually takes up to 10 days. So from the wine, we have got the aroma categories. So this is the part that mainly interests you, and this is the part that we are going to work on during the tasting. So we have got the primary, secondary, tertiary aromas, and the bouquet, that means all the aromas together. So at the primary aromas, we have the aromas derived directly from the grape varieties of Mavro and Xinisteri. Of course, the main aroma from it is the aroma of raisins, because it's grapes. But of course, at the secondary aroma, that it's developed during the fermentation process, and encompasses scents such as alcohol, esters, and from these secondary aromas and tertiary aromas, we can gain aromas such from plums, from citrus, etc. So let's see here in detail. Primary aromas, medlar blossom. Medlar is a very, I'm sure you know, here we find it a lot up to the mountains. We make fantastic marmalade from this fruit, raisin and honey. So these are the wines come directly from the grapes, the primary aromas. The secondary aromas from the fermentation, we have the caramel and it combines with the secondary aromas that reminds us toffee, honey, and carob. So tertiary aromas from aging and oxidation, barrel influence, and complexity. So when we produce the Commandaria wine, it needs to be minimum 2 years aged in oak barrels. Fresh French oak barrels. That's the law. And it must be minimum 2 years oak age in these barrels before we take the approval to move the barrels, if we want, into another winery in another region, or even bottle the Commandarias. For instance, the Commandaria wine that you're going to taste from our production, the Commandaria Orchestra, is vintage 2013, and it was until last Easter, that means last April, still in the oak barrels. That means totally 12 years in an oak cask. So we can feel the dry fig and prune aromas, walnut, cinnamon, clove, carob, coffee, and oak barrels. So these are the aromas that they are gained from the oak barrels. And vanilla and caramel that they come from the secondary aromas. And all together, what we get? It combines the profile of the above aromas, and the wine glass in the center of the wheel visually represent this concept, and we can see it over here. So all the aromas makes the bouquet that we have in front of us. So this is the Commandaria Orchestra of vintage 2013 that you're going to taste. We'll start our tasting. So Commandaria symbolizes our culture, not only the wine culture, but as you have seen, our political culture, our historical, our art culture, etc. So it's one of the oldest wines in the world that is still produced. It's amazing to have got a product that is produced with the same recipe the last 3,000 years. So let's start our wine tasting. So we are going to take about basic things. So what we are interested in is that we raise the glass, we try to see the color. So that's the first thing. The second movement is to feel the aromas in the glass. The third is to taste. And the fourth is to think. And the think, you have got the questions in front of you, and you can tick what aromas you are taking and you are tasting. So I suggest you to start from the left to the right side. So the first Commandaria that you're going to taste is the newer in vintage Commandaria. That vintage 2019 is from Calamel's winery. So you can see it's a darker color. Is it or it's not? And I would like to answer. So below you can write your comments about it. So first thing, you look the color. The second thing is you feel the aromas. Don't be afraid, just stick your nose in the glass, try to feel the aromas, and then taste. Taste, that means we do not drink immediately. The first thing, we feel the aroma in front of our tongue, then we feel the palate in our mouth, and then consume. And then think, what kind of aromas? And I would be very interesting to hear from your experience, from your countries, from your cuisines down there. What kind of aromas are similar to your recipes, to the herbs that you use in your cuisine? So I will show you also the bottles. But in the meantime, over here, the gentleman would like to share with us what kind of aromas he's tasting.
Honey.
Oh, yes, honey. Yeah. Okay. From your experience, where are you from?
I'm from Germany.
Germany.
We have the wine from the Rhine.
Yes. Any aromas from your that comes from your traditional cuisine
From Germany? Mm, no. Maybe, okay. Maybe I have to try one more.
Start the thinking now. Okay, that's a process. Let's go then.
Francis.
Yes.
There are specialists on wine from Italy. Okay,
Oh, okay, Vinsanto. No. Yes. So,
I think honey.
honey, of course, yes. From your cuisine, from your experience, do you feel any special aromas from your sweets, from your jams, for instance, from your cheeses?
Similar Italian wine, Sicily. Yes, is honey, yes, and prune.
Prunes, yes, we can feel the mature summer fruits. So it's a bouquet of summer fruits.
Yeah, prune.
Prune, yes. So from the Asia part, where do you come from?
South Korea.
Manichwahe. The only word I know in Korea. So from your cuisine, any aromas?
Green prum, yeah.
Something special, a special herb? You have got very interesting herbs down then. Okay, let's go to Viva España. Okay, guys, you were cheating. You started tasting even before the others, so.
She like it.
Cinnamon, yes, that comes from the barrels. So tick for the first Commandaria. So I will, yes, the first one from the. Are we doing? Okay. Yes. Would you like to help me on this? To ask the questions?
Excuse me, should I introduce you to him?
Yes, we can do it more interactively. How much time?
Dimitris, you are from Greece. What's your opinion? You should be an expert.
We are not sure. We have to try again.
Okay.
Okay, that's the Commandaria. Από Ελλάδα, κρασί από Σαντορίνη. Από παντού. Yes. Okay, so let's go to the second one. The second one is vintage 2017 from Garceras Winery. Okay. From Garceras Winery, we have got a very interesting bottle here. So Garceras, this is also a medieval family. It's an amazing family up there in the mountains. The microclimate is amazing where they produce this. But this is a younger Commandaria, 2017. Do you see any differences in the color of the wine? Any differences in the color? Yes, it's clearer, it's lighter. And the reason is because they use more white Xynisteri in it. So in that region, they have more white grapes than the red grapes. So we can see it becomes almost like a blonde, even if we age it. Of course, during the years, it will get darker and darker, thicker and thicker. So about the aromas, what aroma dominates? Come on, guys. So there is no food tonight if you do not answer.
Cyril, you're from France. We believe in you.
Oh, classical French guy. So from Chinon.
That will fit perfectly with cheese. Yeah. I would say something like fig. Yeah.
I would say that here the aroma of vanilla dominates. What do you think? Can you feel the, let's see, the Swedish experience? I'm sure you cook fantastic homemade food up there in your lovely cottage.
Yeah, sure. Well,
We are waiting for your invitation. I will bring the wine, you put the food.
right. Yeah, of course, you're always welcome. Well, I don't know, maybe cloves?
Yes, why not? Yes. Other aromas from your Christmas aromas, from your Christmas traditional food?
I can't say really.
That's right. Just think. Yes, you know, the aromas brings back memory. Just smell, taste, close your eyes. So the procedure is, we see the color, we feel the aroma, we taste, and then we deeply think. Close your eyes and let your imagination to bring the aromas of your childhood. So, guys, over here.
Yes, cinnamon. Yeah, some clove, true.
Yes, great. Okay, let's go to the newer Commandaria now. So we go to vintage 2019, much newer. But the color, what's the color? Is it like honey? Is it like, have you ever seen a carob? Carob tree? So these are the trees that they grow up in the Mediterranean region. We find them in Malta, Middle East, Cyprus, Turkey. They grow up some black, very hard fruits. And with these fruits, when we boil them, we take a black syrup. That's called the carob syrup, which was used for centuries in the chocolate industry and massively exported from Cyprus. And today, even today, Cadbury factory in the UK, they still use this carob syrup. It smells very strange, very characteristic, but it's very nice. So if you go up to the mountains of Cyprus, just search to find a carob tree or to taste a carob syrup. Perhaps in your breakfast at the hotel, you have a Cyprus breakfast with honey. It's going to be carob syrup. Try white cheese with carob syrup. It's something amazing. So I will say that's carob. Something else. Over here.
Are you asking about the second one? This one. That was the first one I tried.
First one you taste. Okay. So, okay, let's see the general impression of the wines. Okay, let's take the book. What is the feeling of drinking this wine?
It's sweet.
It's sweet. Would you drink this wine?
Sorry?
Would you drink this wine?
Yeah, I would. And it tastes caramel for me. Yeah.
So would you have it in your everyday lives? Do you think, would it be able to be consumed every day? What do you think? Would you drink it every day? What do you think? Would it be possible to drink it and consume it every day?
Of course.
With which Greek food would you combine Commandaria wine?
It's a little bit heavy wine,
but I would prefer with meat.
Continue. That's where I want to conclude.
With pasticcio.
So it is a heavy wine. So Commandaria wine. So Commandaria wine is a dessert wine, officially. So imagine in the medieval ages and antiquity, population didn't have the opportunity to eat so many sweets as we do today. So they wanted energy. So all these sweet products were essential for the diet of every person around the globe. So these sweet wines were essential. And this is the reason the European people loved and appreciated this wine. So it's quite heavy though. We missed one question. Do you find it high in alcohol or less in alcohol? How do you feel it? Can you drink, let's say, 2 glasses of it, 3 glasses?
Sure. He can. He can.
We have?
Yeah.
Is it a heavy wine?
It's heavy wine.
It is a heavy wine. So Commandaria wine has got 15% of alcohol, so it's quite more heavy than the ordinary wines. And according to the law, we are allowed to add pure alcohol in it. Because when we produce it, we manage to reach up to 10, 11% of alcohol. But that will not help us, because of the sweetness, to stop the fermentation process. So to stop the fermentation process, we are obliged to add some alcohol, pure alcohol in it. And we reach the limit of 15% of alcohol. So this is a dessert wine that we can enjoy after each meal or sometimes as a welcome drink. So that was all from me. Do you have any questions?
I have a question.
Oh, great.
I have a personal question, okay? So if we compare now, today's, okay, and 5,000 years ago, the grapes are the same, the technology is different. What about the taste? What do we know about, is it changed or not?
So Andrew, Commandaria wine is a wine that has got a 3,000 years recipe. And all these 3,000 years, the technology used is absolutely the same. So you are actually tasting an ancient wine. So ancient wines used to be thick, according to Homer and Hesiodos and other Greek historians. They were extremely thick. So they had to add 1 portion of wine and divide it with 2 portions of cold water, because it was high in alcohol and very thick. So Commandaria wine, if we do not filter this wine, and if we age it in the clay pots for longer, someone will see that this wine becomes thicker, stronger, and much more darker. So the technology, you're tasting an ancient wine, and actually it's the same. Of course, in contemporary winemaking procedures that we use for red rye, red rye mainly actually, because white wines and rosé were not popular back then. So red wines, today the technology is completely different comparing to Commandaria wine. Thank you.
Thank you.